Okay, so we are going to talk about money. So paying bills, and specifically how to do it in a smart way so that you know what's going on and make smart decisions and make your life easier. So we're going to talk about how loans and interest rates and all that stuff affects your life, and then you're going to use this to apply it to what we're doing in class. So first of all, when you borrow money to pay for something like a car, that car is awesome, don't be jealous. So if you borrow money to pay for a car, there's a starting price, right? But to be able to, for the car company or the bank to actually make money on you borrowing money from them, they charge you fees. And usually they charge you a percentage rate. And that percentage rate they often call an APR. And that's the percent of money that they're charging you to borrow money from them. So you have to pay more than the price of the car. Okay? So let's say, and there's a formula, there's a much more complicated version, and of course I'm going to simplify it down a little bit just so we can get an idea on it, and then of course it gets complicated later. But so if we simplify it down, there's this formula that they use. And it's the amount that you owe equals your principal or starting price, principal amount, P, or starting price, so amount, and then this guy is the principal or starting price, okay, times 1 plus, because you're going to owe more than the car is worth, 1 plus your rate, raised to the power of the number of years. Now this is just a simple version. This equation only works if you're doing what's called compounding once a year or compounded annually. Once a year or what's called annually. Then that's the formula for this guy. Okay, and we're going to use that formula to figure out some stuff. But the thing I want to stress again, this is the version if you're only compounding it once a year. And compounding it just means they're only going to charge you, it's kind of like they're only going to charge you one time per year. That's not actually how it works, but keeping it simple right now to get things on the right track. Okay? So let's actually use this to do something. So I've got my little formula, A equals P times 1 plus R to the T. All right, now let's say the situation is I've got a car that is $4,000. I'm getting a nice cheap car. Okay, $4,000 car. I'm going to get out a loan for 5 years. And the rate that I'm getting, I've got pretty good credit. So credit is another story. If you've got good credit, that means they think you're going to pay them back. If you've got bad credit, you've probably done some stuff or haven't done enough, but you've done some stuff to make them think that you're not going to pay them back very well, so they'll charge you more. Good credit is good for you if you're going to borrow money. Bad credit is bad for you if you're going to borrow money. So $4,000 car at 5 years, and let's say I've got some decent credit, and the APR that they give me is, let's say 5%. No, let's go back. Let's say it's 5.25%. Okay? So the question is, how much am I going to have to pay them overall? Right? I mean, that kind of matters. So how much I'm going to have to pay them, I need to start plugging some stuff in. First of all, I need to figure out, well, what goes in here for P? The initial price of the car. Well, that's the $4,000, right? So the amount that I have to pay, I'm now going to plug in for P, I'm going to plug in 4,000. And then the 1 plus, that doesn't change for this formula right now. And then my rate, now the tricky part is figuring out this rate, we need to turn it into the right decimal. And the fastest way to do that is if you always take the percent and then divide it by 100. Did you know that per in math land means divide, and cent, there's 100 cents in a dollar, just talking about 100, so they're telling you to divide by 100. That's a side thought. So anyway, so that 5.25, now most of you guys can do this in your head real quick, but then there's the rest of us that need to go ahead and hit divide on the calculator, and that gives us a different decimal, 0.0525. That's going to go up here for the rate, 0.0525. Now the only thing I have left is figure out what this T is. Well, that's about time, that's about years. And how many years are we doing this for? We're going to have this loan for 5 years, right? Then we just plug all that in the calculator. So 4,000 with parentheses, 1 plus 0.0525 parentheses raised to the power of 5. And in my handy dandy calculator, that tells me $5,166.19. So for my $4,000 car, I got to pay over $5,000 because I decided to borrow that full $4,000 amount, which is crazy. So this is how much I have to pay them over 5 years. That's crazy talk. All right, so for my $4,000 car, I got to pay $5,000. So 5166.19 over the 5 years, right? But you don't, if you're buying a car with a loan, you don't pay for all that at one time. You split it up into monthly payments. So then we got to figure out, well, how much is that per month? How much am I going to have to fork out of my paycheck each month? How much per month? Okay, well, if I do this, I got to figure out, first of all, how many months. This is over 5 years, right? So how many months are in 5 years? Well, let's see, there's 12 months per year. And then there's 5 years. So 12 times 5 is 60 months. So I need to take this total amount and divide it by this 60. So 5166.19 total divided by 60 months. And if I use my handy dandy calculator, that's about $86.10 per month. So the total amount I'd have to pay is $5,166 for my $4,000 car. And how much I have to pay each month is $86.10. That's actually pretty cheap, but it was a cheap car. So let's think of it. Let's do another example.